the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Wednesday, June the 22nd, 2022. We will start with an invocation by Mr. Humphrey and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Marsheed. If you care to participate, please stand.
Let us pray. Our blessed Heavenly Father, we thank you for being so gracious and loving and kind to each and every one of us. Lord, as we come, Master, to congregate here at this meeting, we pray that, Father, that everything will be done decent and in order. And God, there will be respect for each and every person that will be presented on today. And we just pray that, Father, that you, Lord God, will lead, direct, and guide us as only you can. We give you the praise, we give you the honor, we give you the glory. It is in Jesus' name that we pray and ask it all. Amen.
Amen. Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we're going to get started, but I'm going to give some opening remarks and procedures so that everybody understands what we're doing today. So again, welcome to the regularly scheduled public meeting of the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Commission. For public hearing agenda items, if you wish to make a public comments on an application, we have PZC comment slips at the speaker stand down here next to the podium. For future notification purposes, it is very important that you fill out a slip and drop it in the box when you come forward to speak. Please state your full name, your mailing address, and zip code before addressing the board. We will call each case on the agenda in order and hear from the applicant first, and then those speaking in favor. 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. We will then hear from those wishing to speak against an application. Again, 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. One representative of the application can then speak in rebuttal if so desired. After hearing comments on each case, the board will then immediately deliberate and vote on that case before moving on to the next case on our agenda. Please note that when the board is deliberating, members of the public are not permitted to comment. Any member of the public may request a copy of the board's decisions on a particular case by contacting our office at 318-673-6480 after 1 p.m. tomorrow, or by accessing our website at shreveportcaddompc.com. For consent agenda items and other agenda items not requiring a public hearing, public comments can be made upon request by filling out an MPC comment slip. If comments are requested for a specific agenda item, the chair will offer an opportunity for those comments prior to the commission taking action on the agenda item. All of the PZC board's zoning recommendations are submitted to the Parish Commission for a final decision. Please note that it is your responsibility to contact the governing board about their procedures as related to the matter you're concerned with. Copies of this document and the phone numbers to contact the governing bodies are available on the table next to the podium and in the entryway to this room. As a courtesy, please remember to turn off all cell phones while the MPC board is in session. The Commission values your testimony and appreciates your compliance with these guidelines. Okay. I think we're on item number 5. Is that correct, Mr. Clark?
You have the
opening
approval of the minutes.
That's me. Approval of minutes. Okay, we just that. Okay, number 6. Sorry. All right, we have minutes from the last meeting on June the 2nd. We need a motion for approval.
I'll move that we accept the minutes as published.
Second.
Okay. Ready to vote? Okay, that's a 4-0. The minutes are approved for the record. Okay, that takes us into the consent agenda. Item number 7, case number 22-2-SP, consent on a minor subdivision, Polaris Services LLC. Do we have anyone in the audience that's here to speak in favor as the primary spokesperson for this application? No one's here as the primary?
Good afternoon. Ricky Wood, Polaris Services LLC, 3602 North Market Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71107. I'm the surveyor for this project and this re-subdivision. On the consent agenda, I wasn't prepared to say anything, but I can answer any questions that anyone may have regarding this.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Wood? No question? Okay, thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to come forward in support of this application? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone here that would like to come forward in opposition of the application? Opposition. Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion from the board? Mr. Marquis?
I'll move that we accept the 3-lot subdivision as presented by the staff.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Marquis for approval of the application as submitted. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second by Ms. Hart. Can you bring up the vote, please? Any discussion? No, we're good? Okay. All right, approval recommended on a 4-0. Thank you. All right, that takes us to item number 8, the case number 22-4-SP, consent on a minor subdivision, Savoy Granger. Is there anyone here that is the principal spokesperson in favor of the application? Anybody here that's for this application in favor of? Okay, is there anybody here that's wants to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, seeing no one, you have a motion?
I'll move that we accept the 3-lot subdivision as presented by the staff.
Okay, we have a motion for approval as submitted by Mr. Marquis. A second?
Second.
A second by Ms. Hart. Ready to vote? Okay, agenda item number 8, recommended approval on a 4-0. That takes us to the scheduled public hearings, agenda item number 9, case number 2114 BAP appeal.
And Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Clark.
I have a request from Mr. Hayter, but I would not deny him an opportunity if he wants to speak. If you would allow me to just read the first paragraph of this request. It says, "Dear sirs, on behalf of our client, Testament Real Estate LLC, the appellant in the above referenced matter, this letter shall serve as a formal notice of its request that the hearing set for today, June 22nd, 2022 at 3:00 p.m. be continued until the next commission meeting in July. The basis of this request are as follows. The motion to defer this appeal passed at the June 2nd, 2022 meeting of the commission and specifically stated that the deferral would be at least 30 days. The hearing today does not meet the criteria, and Testament Estate LLC has not waived that time delay. There's a question of whether formal notice of the hearing needed to be published the requisite 3 times, which did not occur. Testament Real Estate LLC has a second appeal pending over a citation about the usage of the property at issue that needs to be joined with this appeal so the entire situation can be adjudicated in one hearing rather than piecemeal hearings resulting in possible multiple appeals and lawsuits. Testament Real Estate LLC agrees to the combining of its appeal on this property with this one and scheduling both for presentation and decision at the commission meeting in July of 2022. We appreciate your consideration of this request. With best regards, I am John O. Hayter III. And I'd just like to add that the MPC staff agrees with Mr. Hayter and supports his request for the deferral of this matter.
Okay. I have something myself, Mr. Clark, that is kind of a little bit unusual. I'm not real sure what part of this particular case we need to discuss this, if we do it now, since it's a concern from the chair and the board.
You can allow if anyone wants to speak in favor or if anyone wants to speak in opposition.
Okay. All right, is there anybody else here that would like to speak in favor of this application? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition of this application? Opposition. Okay, no, we see no one in opposition, okay?
Now it's time for a motion.
Okay, all right, so I have a question regarding the authority of this body to actually sit in deliberation on this case. And I just need a clarification on what ordinance gives us this responsibility and this authority. Because I'm reading under 16.12, under letter D, E, and F, exactly what the processes are for the appeals, and there's numerous references in here to the Zoning Board of Appeals, which we are not.
And I will yield to Mr. Bernstein to respond to your question.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. That is up to the applicants. That goes to the power of whether or not you have as you said, the power of the jurisdiction or the authority to decide that. That's up to either the applicant or any of the opponents to raise that issue. So, you know, if they choose not to raise that issue.
Okay, well, I want to ask you as the attorney for the parish and the person sitting in here as our attorney, what does this ordinance require on this appeal? What body oversees this?
The way the language in the ordinance creating the temporary Planning and Zoning Commission reads, it gives you jurisdiction over all planning and zoning matters. That arguably gives you the authority to go ahead to make the decision. But given that the person making the application has asked to defer this and that the staff supports that, I would suggest that that's probably the best approach at this time.
Okay, and I could read this if need be under process, limitations on zoning appeals and appeals. But this is the second board I've sat on. I was on the combined Shreveport-Caddo MPC, and the ZBA has always been a separate board from the Planning and Zoning Board. So when I read this ordinance, my mind goes to that there should be a ZBA, Zoning Board of Appeals, based on what this ordinance says, to review this case.
There is not one.
There's no ZBA, right?
Correct.
And there was not one that was contracted by the Parish Commission in order to act as a ZBA for the commission, correct?
Ma'am, the Parish Commission created the Planning and Zoning Commission, you all. They have not created a Zoning Board of Appeals. And for clarity, the MPC staff was contracted to provide you all the support services that they in the past have provided to the Metropolitan Planning Commission, because the parish doesn't have the current staffing or department to provide those services. From that standpoint, it would be my suggestion that a deferral would be appropriate, because acting otherwise gives one side or the other an opportunity to attack, and perhaps by deferring this, it does give an opportunity for some resolution that may or may not require you all to act. So.
And I understand that. I just want to be crystal clear on what my responsibility is on this board, and what the co-board members' responsibility on this board is. An ordinance is a law, and taking it at.
Ma'am?
Yes.
I'm the lawyer here.
And I'm asking you to tell me why we're eligible to vote on this. And I understand you're the attorney, and I'm asking that.
And the recommendation is to vote to defer the case, to not make a decision. Were there a decision before you, then perhaps that might be an issue to decide. But by deferring it, then it may be that the parish commission, between now and the time this comes up, votes to give you the authority to act as a zoning board of approval,
Right.
zoning board of appeals.
Okay, you're getting where I need you to be. Thank you. Yes. Okay. All right.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Mr. Humphrey.
I move that the case number 21-14 would be deferred till July, the month of July.
And can I make a suggestion, Mr. Humphreys?
Yes, sir.
And that is, let's go ahead and make a motion to defer it to a specific day and time.
Let's see.
I'm almost afraid,
July
Mr. Chair, Madam
do we
Chairman, I
have
think
any-
it's 27th. of
July the 27th, okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move that the case number 21-14, the AP appeal will be deferred till July 27th meeting.
Okay. Question. Do we have to second this before I ask a question?
It should be, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Marsheed. Okay. So in July, when this comes back before us, are we obligated to render a decision, or are we going to be in the same, because I'm going to have the same question in July about the ZBA.
And then that question, we'll address that question in July.
Okay, so, all right, okay. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to defer and continue case 2114 BAP appeal for Testament Real Estate LLC till July the 27th, and a second by Mr. Marsheed. It was a motion by Mr. Humphrey. We're ready to vote, so please bring up the machine. Okay, we have a 4-0 approval for deferral till July 27th on that case. All right, that takes us to the next case. Case number, item number 10, case 2211P, zoning request for Natasha Regard. Is someone here to speak as the principal person on this application?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we assure you that we will reach out to the Caddo Parish Public Works Office one more time and ask them to, when they submit an application to you all, to come and address the application at your hearing. But there was no objections to the closure and abandonment.
Okay, that's the next case, Mr. Clark. I think
Have I gotten ahead of myself?
Yes, sir, that's okay. We're on item number 10. Okay, so do we
Sorry.
have, that's okay. Do we have anybody that wants to speak in favor of this application?
Walter White.
Come to the podium, sir.
My name is Walter White. I reside at 7384 North Lakeshore Drive. I own 213 acres in close proximity to this property. I'm here to express surprise in one regard, that I did not realize that this zoning had been changed from the way it was 35 years ago. That it is being asked to go back to R1A, which is what I thought it was before this happened. So I am very similarly situated as to this applicant, and I wholeheartedly agree that it should go back to the R1A. I might add that I would suggest that, and strongly suggest, that you include any other property similarly situated to this to go back to R1A. We moved here 35 years ago, and there were barns. There was a barn on the property. We raised children. We raised animals. We have treated it totally agriculturally for 35 years without change. And so when I learned of this change, I was really shocked. And I understand that this happened due to a master plan of some whatever. If that happened in 2015, I can only suggest that must have been a fevered brain and wishful thinking, because nothing has changed other than people have built properties and improved their properties around this locale. And this particular property, that the lady spent a lot of money to improve it. So I am here just to say I'm a neighbor. I own a significant amount of property close by. I heartily agree that she should do this. I encourage you, I'm not familiar with your procedures, I'll express my ignorance there, but I would suggest that any property similarly situated in this area should be treated likewise, because there are a number of other people who are similarly situated, and we don't really want to be subject to any penalties that we may accrue because we might have a chicken running around that somebody doesn't approve of. Do you have any questions of me?
Any questions?
No.
Thank you for coming in.
Okay.
We appreciate it. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this application?
Would you mind pulling that?
All right, do we have it? Oh, okay, sorry. Hi.
Howdy, my name is Brian White. I also share a stake in a percentage of ownership of the entity that owns several pieces of land to the northeast of this particular piece of property. And again, what Walter White just presented is definitely my concern as well, that the right and the ability of our uses of the property have been limited without our knowledge. We wholeheartedly endorse their move back to RA and request that the same be considered for other situated properties there that are completely wooded, fenced, and otherwise intended for agriculture that have somehow summarily been changed back to RA in some form, or been changed to R17 in some form or fashion. This problem is much bigger than just this particular piece of property, but we do wholeheartedly support her move, the applicant's move to RA to support their use of property as was originally intended. And we also want to express our concern for the limit on the use of property that we have in that general vicinity.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in favor of this application? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition of the application? Opposition?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
just for informational purposes, we instituted a process for all zoning that was downzoned as a result of the Unified Development Code, that those property owners can come in, file an application to have that zoning restored back to where it was. And they could come in at no fee. It is free to get the zoning restored. And we would just encourage those citizens that may have been affected by this to do the same thing that these two gentlemen have done. We ask that they leave their name and addresses so we can reach out to them and share with them how to procedurally get everything taken care of.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark. That's good.
And I think we have cards, slips for one of the gentlemen, or maybe both.
We have both.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
We will reach out to these gentlemen and share with them the process of how to get that property restored back to RA.
Okay, that's great, thank you. Anyone in opposition? Okay.
My name is Connie Birmingham, and I live at 4221 Pioneer Cove Street, which is across the street from where this property is to be zoned. 35 years ago, where I live, and there's 5 houses on the property in the area right where I live, it was all a fish camp. There weren't 5 homes there. When I first moved on this property where I live 17 years ago, it was rural agriculture. They had horses. It was a constant horses tire squealing. We live in a bad curve, and there was constant tire squealing, horses. I can't tell you how many times I was in the middle of the road trying to get the horses out so the horses wouldn't come while we waited on the sheriff's department. It was constant until it changed, and I don't know, I guess the property changed hands. But I kind of would like to know, if it's agriculture, what exactly can they do, and is there a way to limit what they can do? Because I was told when I called to ask about this that for the first acre they could have 1 horse, and for each additional acre after that, for 10,000 square foot, you could have an additional horse. In 1 acre of ground, there's 43,560 foot. So they could have 4 horses per acre. I think there's 5 acres, 6 acres there. Could tend to be a lot of horses. The same thing with cows. They could have 4 per acre. They could have 8 pigs per acre. They could have 8 goats per acre, and they could have 43 rabbits. And that's a lot when there's a brand new house built right beside where that is, and it is in excess a good bit of value, which I don't know what these people are going to do. I know they tore down a 2-story house and put a mobile home there, and they're building something. You can't tell what it is from the street, but I just don't want it to be overrun with animals that are going to get loose and be in the streets, and the smells, and the property is directly across the street from Cross Lake where we have our water. So I'm just being cautious and looking out for, you know, the area, the pedestrians, the people that live there. I'll fill out one of these. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Madam Chair, would
Yes.
you like, I'd ask Mr. Jean to share with the lady the uses that could happen in the event that the property is rezoned to RA. Would you like
Okay.
for him to share that?
Sure, thank you,
information?
thank you, Mr. Jean.
Okay. First of all, I just want to make sure it's understood the requirements that she was calling out was for livestock that is only allowed in R112 and RE and RA. But if you're in RA, you're really not held by the livestock provisions of the code. They just, as long as they have enough room in the property to deal with it. But in R17, you don't have the ability to do livestock. You can have agriculture as far as, you know, growing crops and animal shelter that's offered, you know, that's operated by a public authority, a bed and breakfast, a cemetery, a community center, a community garden, a conservation area, a daycare home, a dwelling manufactured home, dwelling single-family detached, an educational facility, primary or secondary, a group home, place of worship, a public park, wireless telecommunications, as long as it's a stealth design. Make sure I got the full list. Yes, that is the full list, what's allowed in the RA district. Do you have any questions?
Any questions?
I do. Does that cover, when you say the crops and agriculture, does that include marijuana? Could they put in a business of growing the marijuana? I'm sorry I have so many questions. questions, it's just.
I'm looking back at
I
the
live
attorney.
there.
We're not gonna touch that with him.
Yeah,
Since
so-
I told.
Not, because the state has restricted that to certain agencies that have, and specifically to the two statewide university systems. So currently, private cultivation of marijuana would not be allowed.
Did you understand what Mr. Bernstein, it's a closed system. The marijuana growing in this state's a closed system for universities. Okay. Okay, any more questions from the board, staff? Okay, do we need to offer a redirect at this point, or rebuttal? There was really no primary, so.
Well, you did not have the applicant speak, so
Okay,
there's
okay.
not an opportunity for rebuttal unless somebody came in while we were discussing.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody. Okay, I think we're at a point now where we need a motion from the board.
I'll make a motion that we accept the request to go from R17 to RA for this piece of property.
All right, we have a motion to approve as submitted. Do we have a second?
A second.
Second by Mr. Humphrey. Can you bring up the voting portal, please? That motion carries 4-0. All right, it takes us to agenda item number 11. That is case 22-2 CAP, closure and abandonment for Caddo Parish Public Works Department. My understanding, Mr. Jean, is that there's no one here to represent Caddo Parish. Is that correct?
I do not see them in the
We will
room.
have someone here at the
Okay,
next meeting.
all right.
If there is a
So,
closure and abandonment.
do we
But
have
they
anyone?
expressed to us they had no opposition to the closure and abandonment.
Okay, do we have anyone else here that would like to speak in favor of this application? Do we have anyone here that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, seeing none, board, what's your?
I'll make a motion that we accept the Public Works Department from Caddo Parish to close and abandon the piece of property as described.
Okay, we have a motion to approve as submitted. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Ms. Hart. Ready to vote? All right, that's a 4-0 on approval. It takes us to item number 12, case 22-3 SP preliminary plat, Falcon Bay LLC. Do we have someone here that's the primary spokesperson for Falcon Bay?
Yes, Jordan Pearson with Fort Nablata, 920 Piermont Road, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106. We're representing Falcon Bay LLC on this project, and to my knowledge, we've addressed any and all comments that the staff and board has had. So
Okay.
I believe that we're just here for any questions that somebody else may have.
Does the staff have any questions?
No.
Okay, we're good, thank you. All right, is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Hi.
Hello, Stephen Prock with Lighthouse Construction Development. We're the developer for Falcon Bay, 100 Plessy Drive, Stonewall, 71078. I just also wanted to see if you guys had any questions for us before you.
Does anybody have any questions about the application?
No.
No? Okay.
All right,
I think
thank
we're
you.
good, thank you. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone else? Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition for the application? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion from the board?
I'll move that we accept the plat of the subdivision as presented.
Okay, we have a move to approve as submitted. Excuse me?
We have one I thought was on the docket, number 13.
I'm sorry.
If,
for what-
if he will just wait a moment, Madam Chair, we have not gotten to that case yet.
Yeah, we're still on the other case. We're getting ready to vote. No problem.
A second.
Okay, we have a second by Mr. Humphrey for approval of the plat as submitted. Ready to vote? Okay, that's a 4-0. I'm in favor of that application. That takes us to case number 22-3-BAP. Dana Wheeler variance. Do we have anybody that's a principal spokesperson for this application? Anybody that's a principal spokesperson? Anybody that would like to speak in favor of this application? Okay, do we have anyone that would like to speak in opposition of this application? Please come forward. That's okay. We're at the point where we're asking for anyone that would like to speak in opposition of case number 13 to come forward. Okay.
Mark Pittman, 5252 Norfolk Road, 71107. There's been a proposal, our guys requested to build a building, 50 by 45 or somewhat, and we live in a cul-de-sac, and they're pie-shaped. And he wants to put this building, there's already a building in front of his house, he wants to put a building in front of that building. And when you put a building up there next to cul-de-sac, it's in everybody's front yard. His reasons were saying that he was in a flood zone, and he needed a reason. Well, the people next door, us, which are, he's sandwiched between us, plus Susan and Wayne Waddell, plus the Beckett's, plus the Kerrs, none of us are in a flood zone. He can haul some dirt in there if his house is sitting down low. He shows in a picture of some water. The fence row, he already has a building that sits 30 feet in front of my house. Probably 5 yards, 10 yards between the building. That's very unsightly. It's a snake, rat, and mosquito den is all it is. He doesn't maintain the property as it is. His side of the fence has already grown over and mashing down our fence, and he says that obstructs the view from my property. It is in my front yard, literally. Of the people I've named, there's 5 properties that are tied to that, 6 properties that are tied to that cul-de-sac. 5 of the 6. All of them except Mr. Wheeler says they don't want the building there. I got, I think Susan and Wayne Waddell sent a letter. They were in a conference in Baton Rouge. Got a letter from Cindy. You know, I worked all my life to have a beautiful home, and I pay taxes on a beautiful home. I don't need a barn in front of my house. It's, you know, it's a very big barn. It's already unsightly. We don't cut the fence row back now because we're trying to block the view from the adjacent property. It's horrible. Building a building is not going to make him do any better maintaining than what he already did. He doesn't live there all the time. It's a lake property for him. It's our home property. My son, and he's here as well, is just right around the corner, and he has a beautiful, beautiful home. And 3 or 4 years ago, before y'all passed where you couldn't just move a building in front, this guy put this building up there. You can't see my son's house until you pull right in front of it. This is just not right. I respectfully ask y'all to deny this request. This is ridiculous. I wouldn't do this. I'm a good neighbor. The Wheelers, the Wiggins are old people. We carry them food. The Becker's here, when he's sick and had COVID, we carried him food. The Kerrs, somebody run over the mailbox, I go put it up. I'm a good neighbor. This is ridiculous request. I wouldn't do this to anybody. I have toys. I have 4-wheeler, side-by-side, tractor, numerous trailers, boat. I would love them to have them right there at my access. But I can't do that because we're on a pie-shaped lot. There's no place. If he wants to put a building further back, I don't think anybody would object to that. There's plenty of room. The water doesn't get up that high. I don't know why he wants her she cave, which needs to be torn down, and his man cave, which is just a large building. He says 13.5 foot high. Well, it slopes down. Time you do the dirt work, that building's going to be 16 foot high. It's a horrible, I wouldn't even have suggested it to a neighbor, much less try to sneak around the back door and do it. I've got photos of the way the house looks now. Now, his house that he doesn't live in sits lower than ours. Certainly it does, but his yard doesn't. There's a lot of places that he could put dirt and put his building. He doesn't need to put it in front of our home. If y'all gonna keep making me pay $6,000 a year taxes, please don't maybe do it while my house sits behind a barn.
Okay, but do we have any questions? Board, do you have any questions for the speaker? No? No. Okay, thank you. Thanks
Yes,
for
ma'am.
coming in.
They are, Mr. Beckett is here.
Yeah, I'm going to call for the next person. Thank you, sir. Do we have anyone else that is here to speak in opposition of the application?
I'm John Beckett, and I live at 5244 Norfolk, right by Mr. Pittman, and I agree with everything Mr. Pittman said. This building would be an eyesore, and it just wouldn't be good for the neighborhood, and we're right in a cul-de-sac. But I think it would be a bad idea to have that building where that man wants to have it. Thank you.
Any questions? Mr. Clark, Mr. Bernstein, I received a letter of correspondence from Mr. Everson from Caddo Parish regarding this case, and it was forwarded to me and asked to be read on the record. However, it is from Mr. Mark Pittman, which I think he just spoke. So
I think you still have some people that want to speak
okay.
in opposition, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Okay, Madam. Are you, okay, hold on just a second. Okay, so I think we have one more opposition. I wasn't ready to close it, but okay, I'll get to this in a minute.
I'm Annette Pittman, 5252 Norfolk Road, Shreveport, 71107. I just want to say to reiterate to you that all of our properties, they're pie-shaped, they're very narrow, in going into each one's driveways. Everyone's house sits at the back of the lots. And if you have a storage room, they have a storage room behind the house towards the lake. So this is kind of open, we can see our neighbors, and if this is put up, we kind of lose our security because we all watch out for each other. We watch each other's property. And if you do that, we lose that, let alone devalue our properties. And I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chase Pittman, 5234 Norfolk Road, Shreveport, 71107. I would be able to see the building from my house, and I really don't want to see it. It's really unsightly. And my neighbor, Vicovius, put up a metal building, and everybody that comes to my house or even drives down the road, I live on the same street as them, asked me why would somebody put that god-awful building on the street with beautiful homes. It's just a big metal barn, and it doesn't belong. And the guy's there once every 6 months, just like this guy, Mr. Willer's gonna be, so it's kind of unnecessary, and thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anyone else in opposition? Do you have a question, Mr. Marcy? Okay.
No. Staff.
Anyone else in opposition? Okay, Mr. Clark, the contents of the letter, I think, has been covered by the speaker, so I'm not gonna read that out loud because Mr. Pittman's here, and the letter came from him, so I think he covered everything.
And I think that Mr. Pittman acknowledged some of the people that were on the letter.
Yes, sir.
Some could not be here because of a conference in Baton Rouge. So I think everybody has been acknowledged that
Yes,
they're
sir.
in opposition.
I just wanted everyone to know that the request did make it through, but it seems like everything's been covered at this point, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I have a question for the staff. If I'm reading the maps that were presented in the case, It appears that he would have to cut down several trees to build this building.
Yes, sir.
It also appears there is a large section of open property with no trees to the east of his house. Did the staff consider any discussions with the applicant concerning a different location on his property to place this building?
I'm yielding to Steve when I asked him to answer those questions.
Him.
He cannot ask, he cannot
Right.
come back.
I can't allow, okay, you can take
I
them.
have my papers up here.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be, this is all in writing with photos. I'd love to leave it with y'all if I may.
Okay, it's okay. Just, we'll let Mr. Clark and Mr. Jane look at it. Thank you. I'm not sure what it is, but, okay, go ahead, Mr. Marshy.
To answer your question, Mr. Marchi, I'm not aware of any discussions about different locations. I know that when we go through over these cases, we try to make sure that we try to establish hardship, and I think what had happened when other locations were suggested, it got back to topography issues. So, but as far as us actually suggesting different locations, I don't believe that we normally do that. We just make sure that we understand why that they want to locate where they are.
Okay, one other question. The ordinance says that if you have the detached structure, it is to be a garage for parking vehicles. And looking at the drawings of the building that were submitted, if you come across the face of the building, which is a little over 55 feet, there's only one small 8 to 10 foot garage door. So it's clear the intent is not to park just automobiles inside this garage. Did y'all give any consideration to the drawings of the building itself?
I'll just jump in for just a moment. Unfortunately, Emily Trent is not here today. She became ill yesterday, and she had reached out to the applicant to get a better description of what the building would look like. But I don't know if she got in touch with the applicant or not. It does not appear that the applicant is here to answer those questions, because I shared with her that it would be important if the board had any questions about the building, that the applicant would be here to answer those questions. So we tried to make sure that the applicant had every opportunity to share with you answers to whatever questions you may have had.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Is that you, Ms. Reddy? Okay. You have a question, Ms. Hart?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair. It actually not a question. It was, I want to discuss the slide. If you may go down to the slide, the one that it has a home with the lake behind it, and it was a flood back in 2016.
Are y'all in deliberation, Madam Chair?
I'm not sure. We didn't ask for a motion. I asked if there was questions.
Yes.
So your question is for?
Yeah, my concern is with the water around that house, it seems like a flooding area. So that's what I'm wondering, is that the reason why he wanted to put the building up toward the front instead of in the back?
Mr. Jean, can you answer that?
That was what he had indicated the issue was when he talked to staff. That it was.
I think it's important that you hear that directly from him.
Yeah.
That's not going to be possible today.
Okay. So are there any more questions from the board? Okay. So are you going to speak?
Nope, I'm ready
Okay,
to make a
okay.
motion.
Well, I was going to make one too, so maybe you'll second mine. I think we need to look at this a little bit more. I think maybe there might be some alternatives here that would work out for the applicant, possibly, with what limited information we have here and what Mr. Marsheed has brought up. And since there's no one here to speak on behalf of what the application, and we don't really have any drawings of the building itself and what that would exactly look like, I think I think in the best interest of what's happening, we might want to defer and continue this case to, sir?
I'll check the screen. Show what the building would look like.
Well, but he wanted, Mr. Clark and the staff asked for more detailed information, other than what they got on what it would exactly look like. Maybe what the skin is, what the covering is, details of the building. So that would be my recommendation, is that we defer and continue it till next month's business. But the floor is open, either for a second or.
I think we should make a motion to deny the request for a variance and have them come back with another application.
Okay, so we gotta do this in order. So my motion, okay, so do I have a second on my motion for the defer and continue? Okay, so there's no motions. Well,
Repeat it again,
is
Madam
there,
Chair.
okay, so my motion on the floor was to defer and continue this case until next month's business. We need a second for that to be considered.
Second.
Okay, now, we're coming now with a substitute motion, correct?
Yes.
For?
Yeah, he's asking for a variance, and I want to make a motion that we deny the variance.
Okay,
I second.
all right. Now, we have to vote on the substitute motion first, correct?
Right.
Okay, all of the, for everyone that's in favor of denying the application as submitted, this is what we're voting on now, to deny. So, okay, wow. All right, so we have a 2-2, which means that the substitute motion does not pass. So then we're going to now default back to the original motion on the defer and continue, which we had a second on that. So now we're going to vote on that unless there is in order another motion, right? I mean, there could be another substitute motion, correct?
Yes.
Okay, is there any other substitute motions? And I think it would have to be on the side that, well, I don't really know on a tie how that works. So no more substitute motions?
No, I'd just like to make another comment.
Okay.
By deferring, what we're doing is delaying their ability to get an answer for at least another month. And it's a possibility when they come back and we get additional information, it could be denied again. I just think that they're going to be better off working with the MPC staff to get to a point where they don't have to ask for a variance.
Well, that was kind of my intent of the defer and continue. Mr. Clark, can you elaborate a little bit on what that would look like on the two motions that we made here? What is the best option for this candidate to potentially help him, but also make these neighbors happy?
And I want to be as compassionate as I possibly can, Madam Chair. These citizens took out of their time to come down and express their views of what happens on their property. And I think that that speaks volume for how they are concerned about protecting their property, excuse me. We may not, you may defer and continue, and we may not get any more information. So you will just have delayed another month and still not able to make a decision. If we had gotten a call from the applicant saying, I can't be here, would you ask for a deferral? I would be asking you for a deferral. But no such call came. It's your decision as a board, but I'm just sharing with you that we have nothing.
I got you. Okay, so I guess since I'm on the no side, then I'll make a substitute motion if that's allowed to deny the application as submitted. Am I in order for Robert's rule doing this? Okay.
Mr. Bernstein said you can make a motion.
Okay.
That's good enough for me.
Okay.
A second.
Okay, second by Mr. Humphrey. So now we're going to be voting again on the second substitute motion to deny the application. It's my motion this time. Okay, on a 3-1, the application is denied. Okay. Thank you for coming in.
Sure how to get back my screen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hit Google on the bottom. Hit your palm. Okay, this takes us to item number 14, case number 221 CTAP, Code Text Amendment. And I know that this is not, I mean, this is something we're working on here for the board, but I would like to separate so that when we get ready to vote on this, that we look at these separately.
Okay, that's fine.
So who, the primary spokesperson, we're ready for you.
Adam Bailey, MPC staff, 505 Travis, Suite 440. Two amendments, and well, it's one amendment case, but there are two amendments. The first amendment has to deal with expanding the mail notification area for all applications. Currently, within the Caddo Parish UDC, it says 300 feet. MPC policy or protocols allows we do 500 feet. Through a resolution in May through the Caddo Parish Commission, they ask for an amendment that this be changed from the text from 300 feet to 1,500 feet. And that is the First Amendment. The Second Amendment establishes the Neighborhood Participation Plan. That is that allows the executive director on all land use applications at his discretion to decide if this neighborhood participation plan needs to be enacted as a part of the application. For example, let's say there's, or for the zoning variance case that was just in front of you, if the neighborhood participation plan was in play, the applicant would have been required to host a meeting to where they would have described in more detail maybe what was happening with that building, why they were wanting the variance, and allow the neighborhood to come and ask questions. And that's just an example. So those are the two amendments in front of you. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Bailey?
No.
No.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Yes.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in favor? Do we have to ask that under this business? In favor of this case? Is there anyone here that would like to speak in opposition to these code text amendments? Opposition. Okay, seeing none, Mr. Marsheed, you're on.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we accept amendment number 1 as requested by the Caddo Parish Commission to increase the limits within which notice of public hearings on subdivisions and zoning applications are required from 300 feet to 1,500 feet.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the first part of the code text amendment that was just read. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hart. Any discussion? Mr. Clark, I would like to ask you as the executive director, and if you don't want to do it, I understand, but do you have a position on this?
Well, you know, I shared with you earlier, and I'm comfortable with whatever the board decides. But I shared with you earlier that we suggested to you that the ordinance for the notification area remains the same because we have the ability to expand the notification area up to 1,500 feet if we feel that it merits doing that. But if you, the commissioner wanted it in the ordinance that we would notify everyone within a 1,500 foot radius, and if that is your desire and the commissioner approves that we will get it done.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the code text amendment. Do you need to speak, Mr. Marsheed?
Excuse me, I just wanted to bring that back up again. This was a request from the Caddo Parish Commission that they're their local elected body. So therefore, I think we have an obligation to give it back to them and let them go to a final vote as to whether they want to make this change or not. All we're doing is making a recommendation that it go back to the commission to
Are
vote.
are we final on this?
You will make a recommendation to them, and then they will vote
Yes.
whether to enact it as a code text amendment.
Okay. Okay, so we have the motion on the floor to approve as submitted for the first part, second by Ms. Hart, but I'm gonna make a substitute motion to deny this. So is there a second for that? Okay, so no second on that? Okay, all right, so that fails. Okay, so we're back to the vote on the floor by Mr. Marsheed. So I think we're ready for the vote. Okay, on the 3-1, that's recommended for approval, and that will go to the Cattle Parish Commission for final acceptance. Okay, and I think that takes us.
No, I make a recommendation for a motion
yeah.
for amendment number 2, that we accept the proposed project neighborhood participation plan, amendment to Article 15 as published.
Okay.
I've read through the document, and it gives the staff a lot of leeway as to who they invite based upon each individual case. So I think they are in the position to be the best ones to judge who gets notified and who participates in these neighborhood discussions when there's an application that comes before the board.
Okay, do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, I would like to have a little bit of discussion about this. Mr. Clark, I just want to make sure that I have complete understanding, because you know I'm a huge proponent of the MPP. However, this 1,500 feet that we just voted on to send it through to the parish, is that going to impact the radius of the people that are going to be notified under NPP?
It's not as written, but you can amend it to require that, I'm thinking. Yeah, you can amend it to require that in the NPP, we notify everybody within a 1,500-foot radius of the location.
Does the staff see that as something that could be contentious, that we would have a notification of, if the parish approves it, the commission approves it, that we would have a 1,500-foot notification by ordinance, but not necessarily a 1,500-foot on the NPP?
I think, like Mr. Marsheed said, the Cattle Parish Commission enacted a resolution requesting that the 1,500-foot notification area come to you to recommend to them for adoption. It seems like it would be no major problem if we do the NPP in the same fashion. I'd just like to share with you that the Cattle Parish Commission in contract funded us to do some things. So we're not in a position or in a attitude of rejecting anything that they request. I would hope that if it doesn't work, because we have times in the city where we have neighborhood participation plan meetings and nobody shows up. And we've sent out postcards to a number of people. So I would hope that if we come back and as this process settles down with the board, we come back in a few months later and share with you that it's not working, that you would consider reducing that notification area.
Does anybody else on the board have any comment on that?
Yeah, I have one more question, Mr. Clark. On the neighborhood planning meetings, would a staff member typically go to one of those organized meetings?
I have asked staff not to attend those meetings.
Okay, so it's purely between the applicant and his neighbors?
It's purely between the applicant, where the neighborhood is not enraged, for lack of a better description, or with us sitting there and asking us how to kill something. They're more engaged with asking questions about what the project consists of, and making suggestions to the applicant of things that they can do to make the project more acceptable.
Okay.
When it works, it's been incredible.
And in reading the document that y'all have presented to us, the neighborhood petition report is a requirement.
Yes.
From the applicant.
Yes.
And it's pretty detailed of what he has to do to comply with these requirements.
I think you all will be proud of, you know.
I think it's
and
a really good
the parish
idea.
desperately needs this because we're hopeful that we can get beyond the gripe sessions with the parish, where, like today, with the garage, if the applicant had had a neighborhood participation plan meeting in the cul-de-sac, they would have had an opportunity to have a clearer understanding of what he's proposing, how it's going to look. They could have had input on any changes that they would have desired to make it more compatible with the neighborhood. So I think you'll be real proud of this. And the addition of, it makes the Caddo Parish Commission happy. We have no problems with it.
Do we know what a type of zoning request that you're going to be requiring that on? I know it's up to your discretion as the executive director, but what, do you have any idea? It would be like what the city does?
I think this one in the parish is a little different. I'm going to let Adam go through the differentiation between the city and the parish, but there is a slight difference.
So with the parish, it would be up 100% to his discretion. So any application that came through, staff would monitor it, obviously in the intake, and let Mr. Clark know, hey, this is what's happening. Here are some of the pros and the cons, why or why not a NPP should occur. On the parish side, the city side, there are some automatic triggers that if certain applications come in, a NPP is required regardless. Those include any zoning map amendment requests from any residential zoning district to a more intensive zoning district, any zoning map amendment request to rezone property from an R2 or R3 zoning district, any special use permit involving retail sales of alcohol, special use permit located within 200 feet of a residentially zoned piece of property, any land development application that he sees necessary. So that's where the differences are. So there's 4 that are automatic triggers, and still he has the ability on any other application to come in to make that
and I know y'all
decision.
keep a good watch on that, and the pulse on what's happening. I would just say that I think it's valuable. You know, we've talked about this when I was on the old committee, and I think we saw a lot less opposition in chamber on the day of the votes, Mr. Clark. But mainly the fact that, you know, information gets out in the public about what somebody's doing, and it's just not accurate. So these meetings put to rest the rumors and the things that are being said in the public. You know, it starts out as a crawfish stand and it ends up going to be a liquor store kind of by the time it gets around, and sometimes, you know, just things get blown out of proportion. So I feel like this is a very valuable tool in order to get the communities together before they ever get in here to address issues. So I'll be supporting this today. All right, so
Call for a vote?
Yes. Do we have a motion already?
Yes,
okay.
I made the motion.
Okay. All right.
And I think Mr. Humphries
If
seconded.
you want, if y'all want to change to the 1,500, you would need to add that as an amendment.
I'm not sure.
But I'll just
No,
let you know.
I don't see any need to change anything that you've presented to us.
I just wanted to see if y'all thought it was going to be an issue, because I want you to be able to have the flexibility on that. Okay, so we have a motion to approve and seconded by
Mr. Humphrey.
Mr. Humphrey, so we're ready to vote. Okay, 4-0 on that code text amendment to move through to the commission. Okay, so that takes us to the end of the public hearing, and we're down to number 15, which is old business and any committee chair reports, which we don't have any committees at this point, so I think we'll just skip over that. And then number 16 under new business says research. So who's on the board for that?
As I shared with you upstairs, in the future we will provide that. We will remove this from the agenda, and we will provide updated research in the work session prior to this meeting, where you're much more comfortable and laid back and can ask questions, and we have a board and the video and everything.
Okay, anything else under that agenda item? Okay, we'll move to number 17, other matters to be reviewed by the commission. Do we have a director's report?
Like I shared with you earlier, very quickly, I thought this was a good meeting, and I think it's just an indication of positive things to come. We're creating new boards, trying to find out the appropriateness of boards. We're going through a whole lot of different issues, and the staff, because I can speak on behalf of the staff, truly appreciates the attitude that you're showing, going through these difficult periods, trying to get everything together. We're going to get it all together, and this board is going to be if the Caddo Parish Commission is so inclined, I can't speak for them, but if they're so inclined, this is going to be a fantastic board. I love the way that you deliberate, and you're involved in the cases. You're a credit to the citizens of Caddo Parish, and we're lucky to have you. I remind you that July 9th, you will get a chance to have a whole lot of questions answered. You'll get a chance to have ethics questions answered. You'll get a chance to have planning questions answered. You'll get a chance to have zoning questions answered. Mart Blake has been in Louisiana. He's from Houma. He's been in Louisiana for quite some time, and he's an excellent presenter and a very knowledgeable person. So I encourage you to make sure that you're there. We're trying to pull together some nights because you'll be there from 8 o'clock to 12, but you'll get a chance to find out a whole lot of information. And with that, those are all the comments I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Clark, I'd just like to say, you know, I took that training in Lafayette the last time it was offered post-COVID. And so I appreciate the effort on your part and the staff's part, whoever's task that was to get that meeting here. It's difficult sometimes to get things in North Louisiana, so thank you for managing to get that done.
That was actually me.
Okay, so now we're at the public comment section. Do we have anyone here that would like to speak as just a public comment? I don't see anyone else in the, I'm kind of blind. There's no one sitting over in that corner, is there? Okay, all right, nope. So I don't see anybody in public comments. So that takes us to number 18, the chair, and then board members' comments. And I would just like to say from the chair, and then I'll let y'all speak for whatever you need to very quickly. I think this meeting went a lot more smooth than our last meeting. I think that we're moving up that curve pretty quickly, and as time goes on, it will get easier for us. So I appreciate everybody's dedication to being here and volunteering for this position. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on the board? Go ahead, Mr. Rashid.
Yeah, I just have one other item, and I talked to Mr. Bernstein about this briefly, and it's an issue that came up with a case about in dealing with certificates of occupancy. And
would you pull the microphone?
I think we still need a little bit more clarification. I do not understand why the certificate of occupancy clause was put in a zoning document for the zoning administrator to issue a certificate of occupancy. Typically, a certificate of occupancy is issued by a chief building official.
I cannot hear him, Madam Chair.
He can't hear you for some reason.
Okay, well, keep cut off. I was cut off again.
Can you hear?
Well, can you hear me now?
Here, let me clear you. Hang on. Okay, try it now.
Okay. In the parish ordinances, it says that the zoning official issues a certificate of occupancy. Typically, a certificate of occupancy is issued by the chief building official. Caddo Parish right now is kind of in a strange position because the city of Shreveport enforces and takes care of permits and inspections and all of that. They have a chief building official, but there's nothing in the parish ordinances other than, as Mr. Bernstein said, the agreement between the parish and the city to take care of permitting and inspections and so forth. There's a little bit of a conflict in I think, in looking at the ordinances. The ordinances says that the Director of Public Works for the parish is responsible for inspections, permits, and all technical code issues. That appears to have been deferred back to the city of Shreveport. It also says that the Caddo Parish Commission will appoint a chief building official, which I don't believe the parish has ever done. So I think we've got some holes in the ordinances, and I just think that somebody needs to do a little research and see if it can be cleaned up.
And if I may, I think that research will occur. Basically, we've just been patiently waiting to see exactly what will happen with the parish of Caddo in reference to zoning and what areas will be under the jurisdiction of the agreement with the Shreveport Metropolitan Planning Commission of Caddo Parish. Once this settled down, then we will be working with the Caddo Parish Commission's Long Range Planning Committee to do some real modifications to the Caddo Parish UDC. But we are well aware that it's confusing, it's error prone, it has a lot of problems. But once the parish of Caddo decides that this is going to be the board, so we will make, because those code text amendments will come to you, and you will recommend them to the Caddo Parish Commission. We will start, like today, we will start submitting code text amendments to you to forward on to the parish of Caddo. And the parish of Caddo, I think, and we'll find out, is very supportive of the MPC doing the certificate of occupancy. We have an excellent relationship with Caddo Parish administration, and I'm under the impression that they're not interested in absorbing or assuming these responsibilities when we have everything in place. But if they are, then the ordinance will reflect that. But just answering your question, we are well aware of what's going on and agree with you totally.
Thank you, and I think we're on the right track too.
Thank you.
All right, any more comments from board? Mr. Humphrey?
Negative.
Negative? Ms. Hart?
No.
Okay, so we're looking for an adjournment at this point.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, adjourned we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Good meeting you.